In the history of time in Premier League football, I do not think that there is a single fixture that has given me more surprising results than Manchester United versus Arsenal, always tramping form, with the least on-form team managing to somehow grind out a win. The last time Arsenal beat up against Manchester United at Old Trafford, they were struggling. I think in a run of about 10 games, it is only Manchester United that they managed to beat by a goal to nil thanks to a penalty scored by then captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Surprisingly, that penalty had been awarded by then referee Mike Dean. That forms a part of a tale of the 16 last visits for the Gunners to Old Trafford, in which they've only recorded a single win, losing 10 times and managing just 5 draws. For those of you that remember, for purposes of history, in March 2011, Manchester United at Old Trafford beat up against Arsenal by 2 goals to nil as they knocked them out at the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. That was a Manchester United that was struggling with quite a number of injuries at the time of that fixture, while Arsenal, on the other side, did have most of their key players available. For those of you that remember, Manchester United did have Edwin van der Sar in goal. They had a Nemanja Vidic in their backline. They had a West Brown in that lineup. They had a Chris Smalling in that lineup. They had a Fabio Silva. They had a Patrice Evra. They had a Rafael da Silva. Now, Rafael da Silva and Fabio da Silva, those two twin brothers, were playing as wingers on that day. It's the same team that had Gibson, Javier Hernandez, Balcazar, Kikarito, Wayne Rooney, as well as John O'Shea. On the side of Arsenal, they had Manuel Almonia in goal. They had Roy Koscielny. They had Johan Joru. They had the likes of Kieran Gibbs. They had the likes of Samir Nasri on the pitch. They had Robin Van Persie, Jack Wilshere, Denilson, among other players. Somehow, Manchester United, with about 7 defenders on that pitch or in that starting lineup, managed to grind out a victory, a 2-0 victory against that Arsenal side. Well, that is a part of the tale of this fixture, that sometimes form does not matter, because usually the least on-form team, and in this particular fixture or at this time, that is Manchester United, oftentimes wins this tie. When you look at the last 5 fixtures, or in terms of form for these two sides, Manchester United have only won 1 game, beating up against Sheffield United by 4 goals to 2. They did lose their very last fixture by 4 goals to 0 as they lost to Crystal Palace, while the other 3 were draws against Burnley, against Bournemouth, and a 2-all draw against Liverpool. So clearly, form is not on their side. When you look on the side of Arsenal, in their last 5 Premier League outings, they have recorded 4 victories and just a single loss. That loss coming up against Aston Villa, which is their only loss in 2024 as far as Premier League football is concerned. The victories have come against teams like Wolverhampton Wanderers, FC Bournemouth, who they beat in their last fixture by 3 goals to 0. The other victories were recorded against Chelsea and against Tottenham Hotspurs. So clearly, form is on Arsenal's side. When it comes to injuries, Arsenal have only doubts just for Takahiro Tomiyasu and Bukayo Saka, who Mikel Arteta said were doubts because of their fitness levels. They are not 100% fit. On the side of Manchester United, manager Erik ten Hag did mention that Lisandro Martinez had returned to training, but did also highlight that he was not fit enough to feature in this fixture. Bruno Fernandes, their captain, is also just returning from injury, while Harry Maguire has been ruled out for the remainder of the season with a hamstring injury. In addition to that, the likes of Rafael Varane, Victor Lindelof have all been sidelined. Not to mention the likes of Malacia that they have missed all season. Mason Mount, sideline, and a host of other players that would form the axis of this Manchester United side that did struggle against Crystal Palace in that 4-0 loss. We saw Casemiro being played at centre back. So clearly, form is not on their side and injuries are not doing them any favors. However, they will be delighted that their captain who oftentimes forms or creates most of their chances and is their leading assist provider this season, will be available for selection in this particular fixture, for which they will be desperate to give the Gunners a run for their money. Regardless of what happens this season to Manchester United, I think they would be delighted if they were able to beat up against this Arsenal side. An Arsenal side that is on form, that is chasing the title, with the hope that if Manchester City do slip up in the run of their remaining 3 fixtures and Arsenal are perfect in their last 2 fixtures, then maybe they can lift the Premier League title for the first time in 20 years. So clearly, Manchester United will be out to spoil the party for this Arsenal side. Will Arsenal let them? Well, we are yet to find out. Like I said, Arsenal have most of their players available, which puts Mikel Arteta in the spot of choosing the best lineup that can fare well against this Manchester United, who we all know are very good on counterattacks and can surprise any team. We just saw that against in their 2-2 draw against Liverpool. Nobody had expected that Liverpool would crumble against Manchester United, and indeed Liverpool dominated the affairs in that particular fixture, and yet somehow the game still ended in a 2-2 draw. So clearly, it's a tale that could have a huge impact on the Premier League title winner this season, and we can't wait to have it. Well, I wish I could discuss key battles, but in the form in which Manchester United do find themselves in, you could hardly think of any battle. When it comes to a midfield of, let's say, they were to have Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo, and maybe Bruno Fernandes in that midfield 3. Again, it is a little bit inconceivable that they would compete well against Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard. When you look at their front 3 of Alejandro Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund, and maybe a Marcus Rashford or Anthony, they will be up against William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, as well as Ben White at right back, while in left back it could be either Jakub Kiwior or Zinchenko in the absence of Takiro Tomiyasu due to fitness issues. Again, this is the best defensive side in the Premier League this season, only conceded 28 goals so far this season. So practically, the battles seem limited, and yet they will be there. On the side of Arsenal's attack versus Manchester United's defense, Manchester United have literally shipped goals for fun this season, to the extent that they do have a negative goal difference as we come into this fixture. Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus / Bukayo Saka, if he is past fit enough to play in this particular fixture, and Leandro Trossard on the other side, could be, a bitter pill to swallow for Johnny Evans, Diego Dalot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and whoever is played against, and whoever is played alongside Johnny Evans with Andre Onana in goal. So clearly, the battles are not too many. Maybe Alejandro Garnacho on Manchester United's side could help antagonize that Arsenal defense with his pace and dribbling skills. Maybe. Whereas Anthony has similar qualities, you never know when he's going to have a good day or a good game. So clearly, it's a hard one to call in terms of contest, in terms of where the key battles are going to be in this particular fixture. When you weigh both sides, clearly, Arsenal are the bigger power. Arsenal have the stronger team. Arsenal have the better form. Arsenal have the bigger ambitions for this particular fixture. They are in the midst of a Premier League title chase, hoping that if a miracle happens and Manchester City do falter in this particular weekend or any other weekend after this one, then the Premier League title could be theirs. So clearly, there is everything at stake in this particular fixture for Mikel Arteta and his side, while on the other side, there is everything at stake for manager Erik ten Hag. Why? He still wants his job and is not sure whether he's going to be to keep it. If you ask me, I do think Erik ten Hag will be Manchester United manager come next season. But yet again, anything can happen. So Here are my predicted lineups for the two sides. We'll kick off with the home side, and I do expect Andre Onana in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, Diego Dalot to be played at left back in the absence of Luke Shaw, and then Johnny Evans in that central defense, while his partner in crime is where we still have doubts. Will it be Casemiro, who was horrible against Crystal Palace? Will miraculously Rafael Varane be able to return and play? Or somehow, Lisandro Martinez could be given a late fitness test to play in this particular fixture? We are not sure, but at least that's my anticipation as far as my predicted lineup goes. In midfield, I do expect Scott McTominay is back in training, so I do expect that if it is Casemiro that is played at centre back alongside Johnny Evans, then Scott McTominay will start in this particular team alongside Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes to form the midfield three. And the front three will be Alejandro Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund, and Marcus Rashford. Oh, Anthony, if Marcus Rashford is fit enough, then he will start this particular fixture. Because if there's any Manchester United player ever since Rooney left this club, it is Marcus Rashford that does know how to score against Arsenal. Last season, he did score against them with that brilliant goal at the Emirates Stadium. We all remember that incredible strike. Then, this season, he also scored against Arsenal in that 3-1 victory at the Emirates Stadium. He opened the scoring, then Martin Odegaard on the other side did restore parity before Declan Rice won it for the Gunners late on in the game in added time, and then Gabriel Jesus sent Diego Dalot to the market and he sealed that 3-1 victory. So that is my predicted lineup. But like I said, Manchester United are struggling with quite a number of injuries, so do not be surprised if there are changes made to that starting lineup. On the other side, Arsenal, we do expect the Golden Glove winner, David Raya, 15 clean sheets already to his name this season, to stand in goal at right back. We do expect Ben White, William Saliba, and Gabriel Magalhaes to form their centre back. And I do think that Zinchenko will start this particular fixture ahead of Jakub Kiwior in the absence of Takahiro Tomiyasu. Should the fitness doctors pass him right, do not be surprised if Tomiyasu starts this game, as he has started the previous two fixtures against Bournemouth and the other against Tottenham Hotspurs. And then in that midfield, I do expect Thomas Partey, I do expect Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. Whereas Jorginho has just been handed a new contract which he put pen to paper to, I do not think he will start this particular. So that will be the midfield three for the Arsenal. And then the front three will be led by Kai Havertz and then Leandro Trossard on one side. It is on the other side that then we have to ponder about. Will it be Bukayo Saka, who also has been incredible in terms of facing Manchester United because he did score against them last season and this season? Well, like I said, there are fitness questions over Bukayo Saka, but should he be fit enough to start, he will definitely start. But in the event that he is not fit enough to start, it will be Gabriel Jesus that will start in his place. So that game will come to you at 6:30 p.m. East African time on Super Sunday. But before all that unfolds, Manchester City will have opened the weekend at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday when they travel to Craven Cottage to play Fulham. The Gunners will be down on their knees, hoping that Fulham does them a favor. Arsenal do have about 3 former players in that Fulham, team. They have an Alex Iwobi there, they have a Bernard Leno there, and they have an infamous William Borges da Silva in that same team. So they will be hoping that those former 3 Gunners could pull some strings to do them any favors in terms of stifling Manchester City's chest to a 4th consecutive Premier League title, which it is only theirs to lose, at least in my opinion. So they do open up the weekend when they visit Craven Cottage at 2:30 p.m. East African time. Then plenty of fixtures will come your way at 5 sharp. That's on Saturday when Bournemouth host Brentford. Then Everton will be at home against Sheffield United. Sheffield United already relegated. Newcastle will be at home against Brighton at Hove Albion, while Tottenham Hotspurs, who have lost their last 4 Premier League games consecutively for the first time in as far as I can remember, that's against Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea, and the other being against Liverpool, will be at home against Burnley. Now, I do think this is the fixture in which Tottenham could redeem themselves to try and bring their sort of not bad season back to not course but a little bit of brightness. Yes, they do play a Burnley side that are fighting for their lives in terms of relegation, but I do think that Burnley concede way too many goals, and maybe it will be a difficult game, but I do think Tottenham will rise to the occasion and win this one, or at least they won't lose. And then still at 5 sharp, West Ham will be at home against Luton Town, while Wolverhampton Wanderers will host an on-form Crystal Palace. Very difficult game, very entertaining game that I do expect on that particular fixture. While at 7:30 p.m., Nottingham Forest will host Chelsea. Nottingham Forest still need 4 points to secure their stay in the Premier League. So that is another very entertaining fixture. While Chelsea, on the other hand, are still pushing for European football. If they push hard enough, they could qualify for the Europa League, basing on how things go. But the bare minimum could be the UEFA Conference League. They are already sitting above Manchester United in a surprising turn of events, because Chelsea have spent the better part of the season on the second page of the Premier League table. That's from 11th, between 11th and 12th, while Manchester United have been oscillating between 6th and 8th. So clearly, the tables have turned. And then on Monday Night Football, Aston Villa will be at home against Liverpool at 10 p.m. sharp. That's East African time. Remember, Aston Villa were recently knocked out of the UEFA Conference League by Olympiacos there. So it's going to be a very entertaining weekend of football. Key games to look out for is definitely on Super Sunday between Manchester United versus Arsenal. I do not think that Arsenal will drag Manchester United in the way their fans may hope. I think it could be a close tie, closer than we may think. I do think, however, that Arsenal could edge it with a very small margin, maybe a 1-0, a 2-1, something like that, or even a 3-2. For goodness sake, it could be that close. And then the other fixture is Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea. Key fixture in this weekend. Why? Nottingham Forest are fighting for their lives. Then Tottenham versus Burnley, in that order. Those are very key fixtures to look out for this weekend. Until Monday, when Aston Villa hosts Liverpool. That's it for me from Football Tribe. Thank you for those that have subscribed. Do like, comment, and share on our content so that we can continue to grow. Otherwise, stay blessed, and I'll see you next time.